Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin, and joining us today is the writer, director, and actor of his feature film debut, The Artifice Girl, a sci-fi thriller with XYZ Films and Paper Street Pictures. Let's welcome Franklin Ritch and get futuristic.
Thank you so much, Dustin. I'm excited to get futuristic.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's everybody was sort of saying like, oh, you got to prepare for the press junkets. They're going to be so intense. And again, this is my first film. This is my first sort of rodeo, as they say. So I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. I can't wait to talk about the film. But sure
Until you
enough, like
say it every hour.
no, but it's been great, honestly. It's been a really wonderful experience. When you have like when you've been working on a project for 3 years and you can't talk to people about it,
Mhm.
to finally get to open up about it is wonderful. It's like a champagne bottle exploding of just like all of these thoughts and ideas that I like things that I forgot about when writing the script. So this has been great.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're having a good time. But before we jump into the Artifice Girl, what I like to do with all the guests that we have on this show is I always like to kind of go back to the beginning and to see where, everything started with you. Was it something that was writing, directing, or acting, or all of it together? Was it something that you've always wanted to do at a young age? Or did it kind of come later in life? So I want you to let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's always been. I mean, as long as I can remember, I knew I wanted to make films. Of course, when you're a kid though, and you want to be a movie maker, it seems impossible. It's like wanting to be an astronaut, you know. So I really didn't feel like it was possible, really,
Hmm.
until, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but I was 6 or 7 years old, and I remember watching a VHS tape of Wallace and Gromit and the Wrong Trousers. And for some reason, that like kicked it off for me because I watched that and had this like realization of, oh, well, I can do that. That's plasticine. And like you get a camera, like a little still camera, and you take a photo and then you move it a little bit and then take a photo and then
Yep.
I can do that. And then I went and got some plasticine and some Legos and a little
Hell
Kodak
yeah.
chair. I think was the first camera there was a clunky JVC camcorder too, but it was around that time. That was my nana's. She gave it to me for Christmas. And started making stop motion films. That was how I got my start in film in like my early years and into middle school. And then in high school, I actually started making friends and coming out of my shell a little bit. And that's when I started doing short films with fellow classmates and stuff. And yeah, the rest is history. That's how it all started for me.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Starting doing stop motion for your first thing, I feel like a lot of people be like, "Oh, I'm not going to touch that because that's tricky. You got to make sure everything's perfect." But you're doing it so young. That's amazing.
Hey, I think that there's a lot to benefit from that in hindsight. Like for one thing, yeah, you do have to be a little crazy and neurotic to that
Yeah.
that dedicated to just like and every like little mistake, you either have to just run with it and say, okay, how do I make this mistake? Like it's going to dictate what the next 30 frames are. It's
Yeah.
like your character going to sway a little bit, and are you going to turn that into a dance, or are you going to start over? Like that's always kind of the risk. But even still, like I love telling that story, and it's funny like having it sort of strangely connects back to Artifice Girl because I feel like there's something so magical and about taking an inanimate object and through light and pictures and movement, you can get people to have emotional connections with
Yeah.
it. That's just so crazy that like the Pixar lamp has so much
Yeah.
personality because of the way that it moves. And Artifice Girl is all about that. It's can you empathize with an inanimate object, and therefore, why is that important? Anyways, I think that I learned a lot growing up doing stop motion, and wasn't the conventional way to get into film, but hey, so far so good, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Artifice Girl.
Thank
Um,
you.
it's so different to a lot of other movies that are out there because a lot of people might say, "Oh, this is a really wordy film," but you know it is. But I love it, and because I love the attention of detail and the world building you're doing without there being an actual world. You know,
Yeah,
like you're just like in these like little areas or houses or whatever it may be, but you're talking about all these different locations and things that you're doing and why your character is doing this one thing with Cherry, and it's so amazing. And also I wanted to ask you, because a lot of your lines are so fast paced and your dialogue is so quick, how long did it take you to nail that? Because I would have been like, I had to have like 20 takes to nail like this like 3 paragraph dialogue tree.
sure, sure. I first of all, thank you. Yeah, we were kind of counting on that being like the consensus that yeah, this is going to be a wordy film. This was new going in. We didn't have anything. We didn't have the money or resources to
Yeah.
do any crazy special effects. So we knew like the building blocks of this project was going to be dialogue. So how do we just can we make that? Can we sustain an hour and a half on just people talking to each other? And if so, how? I think part of the reason why I really didn't struggle that much with the memorization, I think for two main reasons. One, I wanted to make sure that every line felt like there was a continuous flow of ideas and emotions, that every character had like the very Sorkin-esque intention and obstacle, and that every line was just another kind of piece of that, what that person's natural inclination would be
Okay.
to go towards. And that for me, that helps with memorization, knowing like, okay, this is how this character is going to respond to this, and then to that, and then this is what they want, and this is how they're going to try and change the subject. But I think too, and probably more importantly, is that we had an extensive rehearsal process where because I wrote the script in the spring of 2020, right at the beginning of the
Wow.
pandemic. And
Yeah.
then we decided to move forward with production in the summer. And that was kind of the whole idea, is this could be a project that we make in a COVID safe environment,
Yeah.
with minimal cast, minimal crew, one location. So we did all of our rehearsals over Zoom for that reason. And that turned out to be super helpful. One, because we were all kind of socially starved. We hadn't interacted with anybody,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was a great excuse for the four of us to just hop on a Zoom call and catch up, and then run through the script and then talk about it, do table work. And yeah, I think that was really helpful. We ended up rehearsing 2 or 3 times a week, and it never felt like a chore, because we didn't have to go anywhere. We were in the comfort of our homes, and we got to just chat and hang out. And I had worked with David, Cinda, and Tatum on several other projects before Artifice Girls, so it was just always nice to talk to them, and just whether we were talking about what was on TV or talking about the big philosophical ideas in the script, it was always just a joy to spend time and interact. And I think that helped a lot with memorization and just getting that dialogue down.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely feel there's a really strong connection with everybody in this film, and it has to be because of you talking to everybody, that much, and you can tell that it's like, all right, it seems like these people have known each other for a long time, because they're all bouncing off each other. Everything's working so well. The flow is amazing. There's never like a dull moment in this. Like I said, with like a lot of dialogue, you would expect like a movie like this, like, oh my God, it's gonna drag, but it
Sure.
doesn't. Like I usually like at like the halfway point of a film, if I think it's a halfway point, I'll go and like look, see where I am, just to, kind of judge how I'm feeling for a film. I didn't do that at all with this. Like it stopped and I was like, wait, that's it? I was like, no, are you kidding me? There has to be more. There has to be more. And I was like, wow, this was a great film. Like I don't remember the last time it was that I didn't really look to see where I was in a film. So congrats on you and your whole team for making this like fly by.
Well,
Seriously.
that means a lot. You have no idea how happy that makes me to I am to hear that. That was always there, like, when are people going to get bored? It's great to hear that that you were engaged, and that it's resonating with people. That's been so wonderful to finally hear after all this time
Yeah, I can
of being so
imagine.
close to it.
Another thing I wanted to ask is, what is your writing process like? Because like
Oh,
we're
are you
talking
still
about
there?
how
Oh,
this
sorry.
this your writing process. What's your writing process like? Um, oh, are we
Oh,
breaking up a little
sorry.
bit?
I had a little lapse in
Oh, no, no,
the.
you're good. You're
Can you
good. Are we
repeat
good
that
now?
question? I think so. Can you hear
All
me?
right,
Okay.
cool. Cool. So I just wanted to ask, what was your writing process like with a film like this? You know, it's very based on dialogue and not so much visual. So was there any challenges in writing a script like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from the get-go, again, we went into this project, or I went into the writing process knowing that this was going to be, all dialogue. And like I said, it's just a matter of figuring out how do you make that interesting, how uh, the story engaging and keep the pacing dynamic. Um, and for me, again, like the idea of a predator hunting AI was at first seemed like such a big idea, and would kind of work only in like a globe trotting epic, but I also knew, like, as much as the idea of the people working on the AI to hunt predators, as interesting as that idea was, I also knew I wanted to explore, like, what was going to happen in 100 years.
Yeah.
What was that going to look like? And I knew that I didn't have like 3 seasons of HBO to work with. I had an hour and a half. So for me, it was like, okay, well, what if I want to have, I want to see this scene and I want to see that scene. So then what's like kind of where's the, I know like the trajectory. So I just got to figure out like what's that sort of third scene in the middle that kind of to sort of get us from A to B. And once I kind of had that 3 act structure, which was very early on in the writing process, I think before I even wrote anything, once I had figured that out, knew that this was just going to be 3 long scenes taking place in real time, spread out across a long stretch of time, then then it was just a matter of doing the research, and making sure that all of the technical shorthand and the jargon was going to be relatively accurate. So weeks of research, but then when I actually like started writing, I remember like I think the first draft was done in 48 hours. It just,
What?
I didn't leave my bedroom. All right. And I know, again, like that
Wow.
sounds crazy. And I don't want it to be like, wow, what a savant. No, I mean, like it was not attractive. It was like, thank God for DoorDash.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
it was COVID times and there was like, I had, no sunlight coming into my room. So I was just locked up on my bed, just, like a little troll, a little writing troll. And, and, yeah, it felt like all of the beats kind of just sort of fell into place. Now that's not to say that there wasn't a lot of extensive sort of rewriting afterwards, but I just also felt like I had like over prepared for the assignment, I guess, before I like actually sat down and plotted out all the beats and wrote all the dialogue in that 48-hour window. But watching a lot of the interrogation footage videos of real
Oh
live
yeah.
criminal interrogations was super helpful, and part of what kind of inspired that opening sequence, because those real interrogations have kind of a rhythm, in the way that the detectives sort of corner in on the suspect and give like increments of information at a certain pace, but withhold certain things and then like kind of come in psychologically to sort of trap them. And I thought that that was fascinating, and I especially love watching those videos when I had no idea what it was the crime was. I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
know the context of the video. So then you're like a little fly on the wall detective trying to figure out. And I thought that that would be a great way to kind of get the audience engaged into what's happening. We start the story in that interrogation room, and the audience is trying to figure out what it is he's being accused of. Okay, it's he's a predator. Oh wait, maybe he's not. But then
Yeah.
girl,
Yeah.
why is she important? And for me, like it became a really easy sort of exchange. I mean, I don't think there's any like grand sophistication to the formula of that opening sequence. It's just every other page was, you tell a secret and then you set up a mystery, and then you tell another secret and then you set up a mystery, and you do that like every other page, and you go back and forth, and it just feels like the exposition is, not only does it feel natural, but the audience is like hungry for it. The audience just wants to get to the next little breadcrumb. So that helped a lot, I think, with that first sort of scene. And that also played a big role in the future scenes as well, even though they're not necessarily cross-examinations, they are kind of subtly taking on that same kind of formula, whether it's trying to figure out who cast the vote, or what is Cherry trying to get Gareth to say, like little things like that. So that ended up kind of becoming the sort of theme of the pace.
Yeah, and I love that, because as you were saying, like you're guessing, like, okay, so what's going on here? Who's this person? What did they do? And then you find out, and you're like, oh wow, and like you really are hungry for more. Like the whole time, like I could watch this as a TV show. If this was a TV show, I'm in.
Sure.
And I want to see it like 1,000 years in the future. Where's Cherry now? And who's she with now? Is she advanced more? Is she older? Did she upgrade to a different model? I would love to see that. And it's so funny too, because we're kind of in the age right now of AI. There's a lot of like chat bots and stuff. So the movie, it feels so futuristic but modern. And I was wondering, are you afraid of AI?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Like I never would have expected 3 years ago for people to be asking that question.
Yeah.
But everything, like the past 3 months have been so ridiculous and incredible and exciting and terrifying when it comes to AI. And it seems like those are the two camps, right? You've got people that are super excited and then people that are absolutely terrified. And I think both are valid.
Yeah.
I'm not, honestly, I'll be completely honest, I am not entirely sure where I fall. I think The Artifice Girl is a story that, if focuses on one kind of hypothetical scenario about a very specific situation in which this particular AI is its primary goal is to just replicate human behavior in order to protect children, and therefore it like confuses itself as whether or not it's human, right? That's our AI. Now, as far as I don't know if that's even as early as today, I'm not sure if that's an accurate depiction of what AI is going to be like in our
Never
world.
know. It's
Right?
possible.
I think here's what I do think The Artifice Girl might get right? That we try to present this idea that AI is not like in the Terminator movies or in
Not Skynet.
2001. It's not Frankenstein's monster. It's more similar to a child, and it's going to inevitably it's going to reflect the best and worst parts of the people who make it,
Exactly.
and so if it's built for altruistic reasons to protect children, great. It might still inherit the childhood trauma of the developers. That's something that has to be addressed and discussed and understood. Of course, like the cynic, one could say, with a cynical perspective, in this culture, in this society, AI will probably more likely be used for opportunistic, capitalistic,
Yeah.
possibly nefarious purposes, and therefore it's going to reflect that, so for that reason, yeah, I think there is definitely reason to be nervous. I think what we as individuals need to be doing is, and maybe it's too late, I hope not, but I definitely think that regardless of if the ship has sailed or not, we should be approaching AI with thoughtfulness and integrity and compassion, if we don't, then yeah, the T-1000 crushing a human skull is, I mean, who
Right around the
knows?
corner.
Right. I almost wonder, like, if in an alternate Artifice Girl story, like the whole, there's like this fear of the AI, and it's like, oh no, the AI is going to take over the world. And then when the AI finally gets to that point, it's just like, I want nothing to do with this planet. We're going someplace
Yeah.
else.
Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah, yeah. And
start
hey,
over.
I'll be, can I
We don't
come
want
with
to.
you?
Yeah, right. You guys are annexed from us. Yeah, like, but I don't know. It's again, it's crazy times. I never would have. I'm grateful. I think it's gonna definitely bring a lot more people to our film, but definitely I have no idea what the next few years, what the next few months are going to look like in terms of AI, how that's going to affect privacy, how that's going to affect artists.
Yeah.
Uh, I have no clue. I just think it's important that we're talking about it.
Yeah. And there's already people that are using like Chat GPT to write their like college essays and stuff. It's crazy,
Here we are.
So anything can happen at this point.
Yeah.
But let's hope that it's all the best outcome right now. We're work out all the kinks and whatnot, which is, you go through that in this movie. You do essentially get to a bottom line and help the AI kind of have its own agenda. You kind of break away from that. I'm going to try not to do too many spoilers or anything like that unless
Thank you. Thank you.
you're okay, but that's okay.
Sure.
But this interview will be coming out after the release for sure, because I want to get people some time to watch it. But yeah, there's a lot of like twists and turns that happen in here, and just working on these so minimal sets and working through this dialogue and having like the chapter based like format that you have, which I really really love. It made me like, oh, where are we going to be now? How many years is it now? I
Yeah.
love that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm like, this could be an awesome TV show or even like an awesome video game, to be honest, like just like a dialogue video game going through
Sure.
it.
Sure.
So that's great. But the one thing that I gotta ask, I know everybody's already asked you about this, but how is Lance? I mean, come
Oh
on.
my God. I mean, obviously, like, I'm sure everybody kind of is everybody already knows the answer.
Yeah.
He's a legend. He's Lance Henriksen. I will say, like, oh man, he was always at the top of our list to play that role, for obvious reasons. I mean, not only is he an incredible actor, there's the obvious like meta reference of Bishop and all of that. He's
Yeah.
got such an incredible legacy. But yeah, we just never thought that we would ever be able to get him. So it was thankfully with the help of our production company that we kind of partnered with, Paper Street Pictures, that they said, yeah, let's get the script in front of him, right? Rather than just like sending it to an agent or to a manager. And that's the thing about like a lot of these kinds of veteran actors in independent projects, like they'll show up and they'll read their lines and they'll take their paycheck and leave, right? And we always kind of figured that, that's probably what we're going to end up with some, older actor. But we got the script in front of Lance and he was like, I'm in. And he had this phone call with me. It was the first time that I had talked to him. I was so nervous. But just in that first phone call, we talked for hours just about like the character and the story. And he was just so like wrapped up in it. And he had found all these, like, first of all, he had like found all of the subtext that I had put in there, like effortlessly, but then started, extrapolating things that I had never even thought about and connecting that stuff to his own personal life. He just clearly had this immediate passion for the idea and for the role. And so we couldn't have been luckier with Lance. And sure, it was the same thing on set. Like we were having all these calls and all these talks about, doing table work and stuff. And then when he's on set, his chemistry with Tatum was immediate and electric. And still, like, in between shots, he just wanted to talk about the story. He just wanted to talk about it. He just wanted to like delve even deeper into it. We would wrap on set and Lance would be like, where are we going? Oh shoot. Okay. Well, I haven't slept in a week, but yeah, let's let's go to a bar and we'll talk more about it.
That's
It was
awesome.
amazing. But like for a writer director, like that is a huge dream come true. Like getting to pair up this young talented actress that I kind of feel like I discovered a little bit, to be perfectly honest. I mean, she's gonna do just fine without us and take Hollywood by storm. But to pair her up with someone who I've idolized all my life, and then to just have him be so passionate about the role and to put everything into his performance. I mean, yeah, that was I feel so incredibly lucky for that experience.
Yeah, and it's awesome he picked that too, because I watched like and listened to interviews about him saying he's very picky with the roles that he picks, because he's been at it for a long time, so he always wants to make sure he's getting something and acting in something that he can actually like feel. And that's so awesome that he went right onto your script. Is like, this is great. I want to be in this. And also touching on Paper Street Pictures a little bit, Aaron Kuntz over there, who's actually a friend of the show.
Oh,
He
great.
was telling me about this film. He didn't like leak anything about it, or he was just like, hey, there's gonna be a really cool film coming out soon by a really cool director. And I'm like, oh, I cannot wait. And I got the email, and then he was like, oh, dude, I think I got the movie you're talking about. And I watched it, and I was like, you are not lying. This film is great. So man, like,
Yeah, we're really grateful for Aaron and for everybody over at Paper Street for like seeing the potential, because we had shot a large chunk of the film as a proof of concept, and that's what they kind of saw, and I think it was just like any independent filmmakers who like they make that kind of uh, partnership with a larger production company, and then like all the creative control gets taken away. But Paper Street understood and let us tell the story that we wanted to tell in the way that we wanted to tell it, and encouraged us to take the initiatives on even things that we were like, well, what do you guys think from like a producer's perspective? And they were like, no, go with your creative gut. And so like, how often does that happen? So no, I couldn't be more grateful for Paper Street and for Aaron and Ashley and our other executive producer, Peter Kaplowski, who really believed in the project in such a profound way.
yeah, when I was talking to Aaron too, he was saying that the whole reason why he made his company is to, give the creators the creative control, let them be in control of it. And everything that's been coming out of Paper Street as of late has just been phenomenal. So to see you with all these other amazing films is really, really cool. And I want to see more from you. I really, really do.
Thank
But
you.
before we get into what's coming next with you or anything like that, do you have a favorite horror film? Are you a horror fan? Or are you
God,
more thriller sci-fi, like with aliens and stuff like that with
yeah,
Lance?
I love all the genres personally. Like there's yeah, I remember I was on, actually I think it was the Paper Street podcast, and I was like, yeah, I'm a horror fan, and I was like ready for that question that you just asked. Like I've got the answer, but they were like, the question they asked was like, what's your favorite horror franchise? I was like, like, can't make me pick a horror franchise, like because Nightmare on Elm Street has like
Yeah,
some really great ones, but the Chucky franchise is fascinating. I
yeah.
think like it's not my favorite, but like the Saw franchise is like needs to be studied and
Yeah.
dissected. It's through an autopsy. I don't know, like I don't even remember the answer I gave him. If like back, I remember in the shower this morning, I was like, I should have said Final Destination, but whatever. Anyways, favorite horror film, if you'll accept this answer, is Funny Games by Mikhail Haneke. I know that's a bit of
Oh, okay.
a snobby answer.
Okay.
The new one, the remake, because I think it's still the same, director, same story, pretty much line for line, shot for shot. I just think Tim Roth and Naomi Watts, Bud Cort, and I forget the other guy's name, are just incredible. And that's a film that has like, I still have nightmares about. There are plenty of other horror films out there that are spooky, like Hereditary and everything
Oh
Ari
yeah.
Aster and Jordan Peele has done are all terrific. But there's just something about the grounded and realistic like horror of just two people holding you hostage and psychologically torturing you.
Yeah, it's
Never
very
get over.
real. Oh man, I would not want to be in that situation
No.
though. Ever.
No.
Oh man, that's a pretty good answer. I mean, you usually get like, oh, I really like Halloween. I'm a huge Halloween fan. I got a bunch of Michael
Oh,
masks
great. Yeah.
behind me.
Original Halloween is prime. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm always like prepared for that. But when people throw movies like that or something else that's like so out of like left field, I'm like, oh wow, okay. So they actually do dive a little bit more into the genre other
Very
than just
true.
all the surface level stuff. Because there's a lot out there, there's a
Oh yeah.
lot. And
Oh yeah.
now your film is going to be lumped in with all the rest of them. And this is a film that everybody needs to go and see when it's released. The 27th, right? It's going to in select theaters and it's going to be on digital.
Yeah, so you'll be able to see it at the Alamo Draft House. I'm doing kind of like a little national tour. So if you're in a major city, check and see if it's playing at your local Alamo Draft House. Love those guys. We're super excited about that. But if not, yeah, you can watch it on Amazon, Apple, on Vudu on the 27th. You can pre-order right now. Yeah, if when people go and watch it, please find me on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, and let me know what you thought, because again, I would love to hear people's thoughts about it, and what people are sort of taking from it. The whole point of the film was to incite conversation, so I'm really looking forward to that part of this.
Yeah, it definitely does. Because I was talking to some friends about it too, and everybody has different thoughts. But that's a conversation for another day because I can go on for hours.
Oh, sure,
Um,
sure.
but do you have anything else that you're working on right now, or are you kind of just waiting to see where this goes before you start writing your next project?
Oh no, 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 no. I have too much in the pipeline. No, I already before our world premiere, even over the summer, I had a lot of scripts like ready. And then as soon as like I started having meetings, I was like, well, you know what, I gotta take some time and revisit them and tweak or whatever. Listen, I can't talk too much about what it is I'm doing next.
Hey, that's fine.
But what I will say is that uh, I think that anybody who enjoyed The Artifice Girl will be very excited about the next project and maybe even the next few projects. What I'm hoping to do with the next film to kind of cement a creative identity is take kind of the best elements of Artifice Girl and elevate them into something with a little bit more of a scale, I
Yeah.
guess. We're not doing a one location film again, but still without losing the intimacy and specificity that made Artifice Girl, I think, resonate with a lot of people. So if you liked Artifice Girl, I think you'll be excited for what's next, because I'm definitely excited for what's next.
I am too, man. I want to see everything that you do, and I'm going to be keeping a close eye on you. And I would love to have you back on once you can announce all this stuff. I pretty much ran through all my questions, so I can give you a little bit of a break before your next interview.
Thanks, man.
But this has been great, and I really hope that your film, has a really big success. I know that Paper Street really do take care with everybody that they have in XYZ films that you're also in partner with, Blood Oath, which they're kind of all, in the same family right there. But Franklin, this has been absolutely awesome. Great job on writing, directing, acting, making something so different, but also like so familiar, because of everything that's going on in the world now. And you wrote this before all this stuff started going big. So I guess you're somewhat of a prophet.
Oh God, no. Look, yeah, then maybe I should stop writing the screenplay that I'm writing next.
Oh no, oh no. All right, no world disaster, okay? We
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
need anything
exactly.
blowing up.
The day the earth stood still, or not, the day after tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah.
shutting that project down. No, no, I honestly though, I appreciate that. I think I just want to tell stories that people can connect with and resonate with, that incite conversations, and and yeah, open the door to new interesting ideas. So we'll see where that goes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking out the time of all your other interviews that you'll be doing today and the previous, however long you want to even say you've been doing it. And thank you for everybody who helped put this together. I'm so excited to see how your opening weekend is for this, and everybody who's going to be renting it. I already pre-ordered it, so I can't wait. And anything else that comes out for this, I'm going to be grabbing for sure. But Franklin, thank you so much for doing this, man. And we'll stay connected, man, for sure.
Thank you so much, Dustin. Please don't be a stranger. Can't wait to hear from you next.
All right, awesome. So that's it for us today, everybody. And please go watch the Artifice Girl the 27th of April, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Bye.